Welcome, Narvikar. All right, it is already 9:10, in fact 11 in India, and we shall start our learning session today. Today is 14th of August 2021. Today's topic is silence, the language of our soul. We'll go a little deep into this matter. Just it's a subject of understanding. It is not about definition of silence that everybody knows. The silence we normally know, it is absence of words. There is no sound. That is we consider as silence, and that is true. And the silence which we will now pursue, it is as a medium. It is the power of that silence which is pervading everywhere. It is like, we can say that like a canvas of a painting, the background of where everything has been created. We are talking about the silence that, the absence of sound or no sound. What is the origin of sound? The way these things we communicate and the sound. The background of sound is silence. From silence, sound has been created, right? So that is, we have to go to the root or base of that kind of communication. If we go further, then what I have written in the description of today's topic, just understanding point of view, it is like a fundamental thread which connects all of us. That silence, that field, the domain of silence, if you take that, as I said, as a canvas, all our creations are based on this. All sounds, whatever happened in this world or in this universe, background is the silence. And all words, all other, the talk, the songs, the poetry, all was started from the silence. Because this is a canvas where this kind of painting have been made, right? So when it is forms a word or a sound, it is called a manifested version, which is something which has been manifested. But the background of that is the silence. That's why all the creations are connected with silence. Like the domain in the background, it is all there. Like if you see all the creations are the waves, then the silence is the sea. Where waves are created and it will go down to back to that sea. Like that, whatever the sounds, whatever the creations, this kind of communications are created, it is created out of silence and it will go back to the silence. So in other sense, that silence is permanent, words are not, sounds are not. Correct? If you need to go from the temporary to permanency, we have to get hold of silence. Similarly, if you wanted to connect different types of creation, then you have to go through the silence and reach to each other. There's a common medium there. Or you can say, suppose, just like I'm saying that, like for the thinking part of it, if there is a painting and one part of the painting like to communicate with the other part of the painting, I'm just saying, just think, like think wild, then they have to use the canvas, the background to reach there, right? So that is the permanent, that is a common for both parts of the painting. Same here. So we are all connected with the silence. So to communicate with each other, we have to go to the silence first. When we get hold of the silence, then we don't need any external media like air, like how sound propagates, right? So we don't need any media. If you catch hold of silence, it defies time and space. That's how it is possible. You may be communicating with somebody who is 5,000 kilometers away. It's possible through silence. Because verbal thing has got a limitation, no? So, and it can reach anywhere. Even though there is, you can say, oh, we can talk through mobile, no? There are some area there is no mobile network as well, correct? So we can reach anywhere. So through this silence, and silence is, that is why it is more powerful, because it is the background. That is why the communication with our soul is through silence, because our soul uses the media which is permanent. It does not use any media which is non-permanent, which will die down. And second part, understanding, is still the higher. So it is between, I'm talking about the communicating between we and our soul. Then this media has been used, so there is a language of silence. There is no verbal communication. You may not hear anything. You may not see anything per se. Yeah, you cannot anything physical you can touch, but you can still communicate. That is the language of silence. So we'll go a little bit deeper into that later on. First, you understand that how silence can be. Silence is not, that's what initially I said, the silence is not the absence of sound. It is more than that. There is a power in silence. We need to understand how to get into the power, and then this communication is possible. This silence, what is that? The soul is actually soul written there. Actually, soul is, it is a being. Soul is there. Like a like we need air to breathe. So air is there everywhere, and air we use to communicate with each other. So similarly, you can say that this silence, that field, is that air of the soul. Soul is being there and communicate with each other with silence. But that silence is not a dumb silence. It is not that there is no content, but it does not mean that there is nothing there. That this particular aspect is called vibrating silence. It is full of potential, full of the energy. In fact, it is If you go to the root of it, it is a loving field, a field full of love, where this is a silence. When I mention love, so it is a pure love from where all human beings are created, right? So Prema Sarupa. It is the field of love where the soul remains, and that field of love is silence. Okay. There are two types of silence. Absence of the word is the external silence, when all sounds stop. So we observe silence. We need that to go inward so that there is no distraction. So that's why we meditate, to disconnect from the external inputs. We go inward. Inwards also there are some challenges. That's like an inner noise, equivalent of sound inside, which is our thoughts going through our mind. Those are internal noises. Those also need to be stopped. So there's something called inner silence, where the thought stops, and that is called stillness. Stillness of mind, actually. So first, so I'm now talking about how we can communicate with our soul. So it is, as I explained earlier, we used to use the silence as a medium, but to connect to that, first we have to stop the external noise, the sound. We have to keep ourselves little private so that external sound do not bother us. How practically we achieve that is a different thing. We can go somewhere, or we can even close the doors and windows and all. That's a different stuff. So let us not go into that. It is not always possible, correct? But let us not go into that. Okay, what we need, let us discuss that. We need to disconnect from the sound. If the sound is happening, we can disconnect from them. We can get the silence even though external sound is happening. That's a little higher level. But for the time being, you assume that physically those sounds are stopped. You are in a silence. So then what happens is attention will go from the outside to inside. And inside also, then another side, your chattering mind need to be stopped. And that's what the thought, that's what we practice, that's what our sadhana is all about, that the meditation. Where the inner noise is stopped, then you achieve stillness. You go to no thought zone. So you are already taken everything from outside to inside. In the inside, it is silent. Now the channel opens to communicate with your soul. And that is the type of media has been used to communicate with our soul, and that we do during the meditation. And this particular, the communication happens in the feeling level. That's why you don't need any senses to communicate. Feeling and knowing level. Knowing gets downloaded to you. And it downloads only in the silence. Otherwise, you'll get distracted, and many other thoughts come in. Maybe external sound will distract you. Then that message will be contaminated and may be lost. You may not be receiving it. A soul may be communicating this silence all the time, through silence all the time, but we are not getting it because we ourselves make busy with so many external noises. Truth of the matter is, this aspect of the sound is driven by our ego. Okay? External sound, I mean. Our ego does not want this communication to develop. That's why it always keep our mind busy with the thoughts or some distractions or something outside. So that is why you said, I never get a time, somebody to sit alone, at least, be in silence. All the masters say just observe silence. Why? Because that is a chance to go inward and further communication and up down to the soul, and so on and so forth. So the external, this noise or external thing, our mind put ourselves so that we just focus out only outside, not inside. And that's how our our ego doesn't want that to go inside, so it creates something so that we always draw our attention outside, so that it has got a control over you. If your communication with your soul establishes, then the role of ego diminishes. It has no role. That is why it will not allow you to be silent. So first you observe the silence, and most of the people, they cannot tolerate that. They said, I'm lonely. I need to do something. I need to talk to something. I need to, if nothing is there, I watch TV. Or if you're driving, start some music, because they cannot withstand silence. And ego is behind that. Understand this. We cannot, live in a silence, because every time our ego tricks us into something outside, some sound we need. If there is a nothing, we put some kind of, headphone and listen to something music. I'm not saying music are wrong, or there's something bad with it. What I'm saying is, if you cannot spend half an hour without sound, then something is wrong. Who is not allowing you to be silent for a half an hour? It's your ego. You might have seen how people behave. They cannot, be in the silence. I'm not saying they're talking, listening to something, starting something, or they are always into that. They feel comfortable in the noise. Okay. Because our ego has programmed that, oh, silence means you are lonely. What you are talking here means you are lonely, you are a social animal, you need to interact, you need to talk, you should have friends to talk to. All are good. I'm not saying anything of that is bad. But if that comes to a level that you cannot have half an hour of silence, I'm not talking the sleeping time. Forget about that. I'm talking awake time. If we cannot make ourselves our half an hour silently, we observe in a day, then something is wrong. Why we cannot have that silent time? I will come to what do you do with it. I'll come afterwards. But first, you understand that we need to observe some silent time. Somebody said it is me time. That's also a good definition. This being silent does not mean you are alone. Or it is you are lonely. Sorry, you are lonely. It is you are alone. So loneliness to aloneness. Aloneness means in the aloneness, you'll be able to communicate with your soul. In that sense, you are not alone. Okay. So in the spiritual perspective, you can never be lonely, because soul never leaves you. It is always with you. Forget about soul. There are a lot of others, the higher dimensional ascended masters. They're always with you. It is your idea that I am alone. You do your business, daily business, whatever you need to do, communicate, talk, nothing wrong here. Talk to the friends, watch TV, make phone calls, it's all fine. But that particular time, whatever 1 hour, half an hour, whatever time you can spend, as that should be your alone time. In this time, you are not lonely. You are physically alone, yes. But then you have a chance to communicate with your higher self, your soul, your inner guru, and obtain guidance, and so on and so forth. That's why we practice meditation. Now, let me come to that, the level that there are, there are many, a few of the things what others are saying, I have just collected, and some of them is saying that um, words can satisfy your mind, but silence satisfy your soul. Somebody called Nitin Namdev has written. I just collected from that the net. I don't know who the Nitin Namdev is, but the whatever the message is good, So that means words satisfy your mind, which is ego mind. But silence satisfy your soul, because silence the soul operates in silence. So get in touch with your soul consciousness. You need to be silent externally. But internally, it should not be dumb. You should be fully alert and aware. Silence doesn't mean go to sleep. It should be, that's why the alertness comes into the picture. Because what we are talking here, this communication level is vibrating silence. Like the silence with a full power and energy. That's what the communication happens. And also, through soul, first stage is to connect with our soul consciousness. And the second part, through the silence, we communicate with our creator. It's all, the creation happened out of silence. Whole the physical universe has started. The creation has physical universe has been created with the starting of that sound, which is Om. But before that, it was all silent. So in that sense, the creator, the field of the creator is silence. So if we observe silence, which is connected each other, and also connect with our soul, and eventually connect with our creator. So observing the silence, we are opening up the channel with our creator. And creator has all these qualities: omnipresence, omnipotent, means infinite knowledge, infinite power, all pervasive. So we are the creation. So creation through silence is when they get connected with the creator. That is the channel where the power comes. That's why many masters say silence has a power. From where that power has come? Power came from the creator. Sometimes say that, if you observe silence, you will get healed. That's correct. Okay. Something went wrong in your life. Simply by observing silence can get the power back in you. Healing happens. So from where the healing power comes, just simply observing silence from the source, because you are allowing yourselves to get connected with the source where all powers are available, infinite powers are available. And you can do this. Of course, soul also will help you to get the recover quickly. Okay, so this is how it works. Now, earlier I mentioned about that silence is a pure loving field, because we are created out of love energy, pure love energy, the Prema Sarupa that I often mention. It's a manifestation of love. Silence is also the language of love, language of soul, but soul is also a loving being. Soul is peaceful entity. Okay. Love does not need words to express itself. If you convert into words, you diminish its quality. if you love somebody so dearly, no matter, I'm not saying the love between the couple, it is also true there, love with the children or the parent or anybody else. I'm not giving some kind of level on this love, or any even any animal or anything. You don't need language. They know. He or she knows you love him or her. Okay, no language is needed. In one of the interview that Mansur Ali Khan Pataudi, who is a cricketer, is and Sharmila Tagore, they got married. Nawab Pataudi and Sharmila Tagore, and Sharmila Tagore was given some interview and about their affair when she is a famous actress and heroine and in the movies, cinema, and Pataudi was, the India captain. So he was giving interview about that their, the time of their affair. And she was telling that the Pataudi was very, soft spoken, and most of the time he becomes silent. So she was telling that it is so happened, maybe we are sitting in some park in a bench, together. 1 hour has passed, nobody said anything. Okay. Nobody said any single word, just sitting there. That's it. Okay. Love works this way. It does not need that you have to have some kind of content and thing like that. And you have to tell every 5 minutes, I love you. It's no need. Okay. It's understood. The knowingness is there. See, here this field does not need any language. And exactly this language we speak, our soul communicates with us. So more you go into that field, you need not to say or tell, express. It is all means what I should say, that the modern day, some kind of I don't want to use fake, like it is a little bit of dramatic idea that to express love you have to give a flower or something. No need. Knowingness is good enough. Okay. Somebody is there for you, it's good enough. You don't need anything else. And that love touches directly your heart, and that gives that kind of confidence. In fact, I surrendered my life to Babaji. Whenever Babaji's, the grace or love comes, I start crying. Because it's so powerful, because I know his presence. He's there. And this assurance itself is fully loving communication. It does not need any word for reassurance or something like that. So that is the pure form. That is the language of that. The silence is that's how is a language of our soul. We communicate with our creator, and that is the medium of it. Now next I will go how to deal with it. Next I will go how to use this for that, for communicating further with that one. Okay, so next is about how you use silence. Some part I have already explained, so that you need to have your own separate time so that we can disconnect from the external world. Initially, it is needed. Later on, you can disconnect even by your what you can say that by intention, that these sounds are no longer is bothering me. sound is happening its own way, and I'm going inside in my own way. It's all possible. But initially, try to physically reduce the sound as much as possible. You can go to a room which is sound is less, close the door and all. Keep your some private, time for that. And best way is to meditate is the fundamental requirement to go inside is your mind has to be present. That's what we do during Anapanasati Dhyan. We bring our mind to the present moment first. Then all the 6-step meditation you have learned, which is aiming towards that. So first the thought need to be reduced, and in fact, go to no thought zone as much as possible. And through that, in the Sandhikal Jagruta, you transcend this field into the energy field, and there the soul that is the soul's area. Then you go into that expanded awareness state. So that is the further step. But to communicate, just connecting with your soul consciousness, we got in touch in the 5th step, if not earlier. Okay, so, and that's how this communication things or this thing started. And earlier already I mentioned about that when the communication with this soul happens, it comes like a feeling in your heart. And then it goes to your brain to make it like that. So you can, in that sense, you can say that it is like something like a thought reading. It is not a thought, but ultimately converts into the thought. But before that, it is like the clouds and rain. Rain is already, cloud has converted into water and dropping, but before that is a cloud level, right? The intention is like that. So in the feeling level, we can communicate with that through intention, and we get that response through another feeling. It instantly gets downloaded with a clear understanding. We are aware that what is happening. What is the message I am getting? Through feeling. Then if you want to have to express this, then you have to send it to the brain to process it and make it converted into words, even though no words can express those kinds of things. So those are very difficult to express into the words. We already had a different session on that one. Why words cannot, be good enough to express everything we feel. Just to remind you about the story, what is the difference between the knowingness and converted into the words? That story, Lao Tzu story, and his followers, they were discussing about that his famous saying that who doesn't know, they say, and who knows, he doesn't say. That they were debating on that one. So, or something similar, like who talks, he doesn't know. Who knows, he doesn't talk, or something like that. They are disciples of Lao Tzu, is a very famous old ancient Chinese master. So in his ashram, they were debating as disciples how it is possible, and that we know it, but we cannot say but how it is possible. Then Lao Tzu, he came, and people asking that, Master, please tell us, how it is possible that we know it, but we cannot say it, or we don't want to say it, how it is possible, or how this happens. He said, okay, fine. So how many of you know how a rose smells, a rose flower smells? Everybody knows how it smells. So now each one of you tell me in 5 minutes each how it smells. You have to explain. And I need to, after I listen to you, I need to get the same feeling how it does rose smells. Okay. Everybody kept silent. So this fragrance of rose is unexplicable in that sense. It can be, we can only know about it. Any kind of expression will reduce that knowingness. Same here. Soul communicates with us through knowingness. And not everything can be expressed into the words. You know it, matter ends there. You don't have to express it. Like a fragrance of rose, I have given also example of love. If you have a feeling of love, any amount of words will reduce it. Silence will keep it as it is, uncontaminated. And that is how silence is more powerful, because it is giving the background to all these feelings, all this knowingness. That's the background the silence is giving. Okay, now you can say that there are many, the masters on their whole life they spend on the sounds. Like somebody is a very world famous musician, somebody is singer, somebody reciting poetry. Wonderful. This is all the area of art, the creation. So if they have become the master using sounds, how sound can be, not to that level? There are singers, any art form, the highest level of art form is always spiritual, always. You can go up to a certain level with this physical understanding. For higher level of art, you have to have spiritual understanding. I was sharing another day, another story of A.R. Rahman. He was composing a song for the famous movie director Subhas Ghai. I forget that name of the movie, but anyway. So he was behind A.R. Rahman to give the tune, because the scene is ready now. We need to, the hero, heroine, location, everything is ready. So he's waiting for the tune song to come so that he can shoot that movie. That scene, song sequence. And every day A.R. Rahman is telling today I have not received the tune. I'll try tomorrow. So and tomorrow also said, today also I need received. Because all the whole shooting and everything is the standby. He has to pay for all those kind of things. In location, foreign location, maybe some Switzerland or somewhere. So 7th day he got very upset. He said, from where you are saying getting, from where you will get? You are the music director, you are creating it. He said, no, I need to get from up there. It has not reached here to me yet. I'm sure I will get it, but I have not got yet. Please wait. Then he got that and then composed it. See, all highest level of performers or the musicians also, they got that from some higher dimension. It is okay. The name is labeled as a creator. He's not the creator. He knows that he's not the creator. When that will be downloaded, he will express it into music. Yeah, that is his job. But the original, the source is, he's not the source. He's blessed to be the communicator, the channel of that creation. If you go into that territory of, the good, extraordinary singers or extraordinary musicians, same song, you listen from somebody, you know, and same song you listen from that, that famous singer, there'll be difference. It will not have a same impact. Why? Song is same. What is called um, what is called the same tune and same thing. Everything's the words are same. So what makes the difference between a famous singer singing the song and somebody else, like a common people like me, or we are singing that song? What is the difference? It is not about I'm not talking the technicality. I'm not talking about that somebody cannot sing. I'm not talking about them. Somebody can sing. Okay. But what is the difference between singing the same song you hear from that and same song you hear from that famous thing? Even for a music, same piece of music, people want to listen to Beethoven, and what about others? If they play the same thing, the same effect will not come. What is the difference? They play the same tune, same note, exactly same. You know, the difference between the master in this field and the others. This part you listen very carefully. The master knows exactly how much pause to be given between two notes. It can be difference of milliseconds will make the difference. So basically what he is doing, master is doing, he's a master of managing the silence, the gap between two sounds. He is aware of the gap. Through the gap, he is reaching to other people's soul. Through the silence, he is reaching to other people's soul. That's why that music is appear to be appealing to you, and other is not. Other reaches up to ear only. That's it. Nice to hear, but it doesn't touch you. What is that X factor? That X factor is the silence. He exactly knows how much stoppage, how much short, brief note to be given. And some singers got so much, mastery in all those things. They take you to some level of vibration and sound, and rest you leave it there. It will reach you. Rest of the tune, it will play within you. You need not to say it. You might have seen some very famous masters that do that. Rest of the song, rest of the sentence will play within you. You must have heard before, but it will play automatically within you. Then he is silent, so he knows where to stop, so that rest of the things can play within you. And that's what it touches your heart. All right, I think I've already explained enough. Now we know the power of silence. What is the level of that, what I'm talking here. I'll stop here. Now, if you have any question, well, before I go to today's question, Vijay, you please ask me the question I told you ask me during the next session.
Yeah,
Okay.
Guruji.
Yeah. So then I will go to the other questions because he will send me some email. WhatsApp message later on. I said I will answer here. So please ask your question related to, I think, the last session, right? So the previous week session. Please go ahead with your question.
Guruji, this is basically about the purity of thoughts, action, and words. So sometimes it is very difficult to make a harmony between these three when you are in the practical world, like you're in an office or corporate world. So, and sometimes in relations also.
Mm-hmm.
So, because if you want to maintain this, then maybe your mental peace may be maybe lost due to different conditions, different reactions from the others.
Mm-hmm.
So how to handle this situation?
Good, very good question. See, I said congruence in thoughts, words, and actions. That does not mean that you have to say everything. Be diplomatic. Because if saying something disturbs the harmony of your family life or your professional life, you should not say that. Okay. You have to just be aware of that. That I'm aware. I'm not saying this. I know the truth, but hard truth nobody likes. I'm not saying you go and whatever comes into mind, you keep chattering. I'm not saying that. Okay. So for others, you need to follow the rules. You have to play the rule of the game. Okay. If the society asks you to play a certain way, that is how you should play the game. Even the masters, like particularly in the aspect of pure love and all, if the masters say things, it will be very much offensive to the society, isn't it? You should not say that. Why? You have to respect that the norms of the society, norms of the family, in the norms of the office. We are not here to impose any spiritual idea into our lives. We just came here to be part of that and have that experience. So we don't want to disturb that. We don't want to shake the boat. So be careful. Okay. But these things, if you are on, there is this, that answers your question about others. Yeah. You follow the rule. You don't say, be diplomatic. Now I'm talking something else. I'm saying from where the original thing has come. Now you forget about others. There is no other involved here. Suppose you are the only one here. How you behave. What is the discipline you follow? That you need congruence. Something that must be came from your thought and your action should follow that. Something you have an option. Something, suppose you promise someone that, okay, I will do this job for you. You told, do it. Not who cares? Everybody does like that. Already told, okay, follow society norm. Everybody is cheater. Why? What's wrong if I cheat? No. Then you are alone here. Yeah? You are tricking yourself, to degrade yourself. Not communicating with something because the intention is you don't want to hurt anyone. You don't want to disturb anything. Unless until they ask, can you tell me what I can improve? That is the time to tell. Not unsolicited advice. But when you are behaving a certain way, you have to develop your own character. You need not to think about when talking to someone, you need not to think, oh, last time what I told him, because I definitely didn't tell what I think. Okay. So you have to have a huge storage to find out what you told so that you have to tell another thing like that, and that will disturb your peace of mind. So be alignment to your thoughts, word, and actions. You are always peaceful. No? So you will know that you are telling the truth. You may choose not to tell it. That's a different thing. That's okay. But if you say it, don't try to manipulate and then say. So it is your own observing the congruence of thoughts, words, and action. That is your purity that matters for your own spiritual growth. And that was the topic for last week. There's a quality you need to have. But it does not mean whatever comes into mind you say. No, that may disturb the equilibrium of the system. I'm not asking you to do that. Clear? All right. Anybody else?
Thank you.
God bless you. Any other question from today's topic? So everybody is silent? Good. Good. Message is well conveyed. Yes, Narendra Palji.
Yeah. Rajesh, this is a very, the question I asked you earlier also, but in the presence of everyone, I would like to repeat. When in silence, even now, I'm in the room where there's no noise, but this background cricket sound, It's very loud for me, very loud. It means
Yes.
now I experience it more and more.
Mhm.
Even if I'm in the car or I'm in my office or here,
Yeah.
even some people are talking. This sound is large. I want you to
Yeah.
explain this actually.
Okay, good. See, the sound we are talking about, the external sound that Narendra Palji has mentioned, and all of us during meditation, we hear that the background cricket noise, continuously
Yeah,
cricket sound, like shh,
yeah,
something of that nature.
yeah.
This sound is actually the sound of your root chakra, okay, first chakra. So, and all of us, when we start our spiritual journey, our root chakra get activated for sure. Okay, that sound always comes. It is in the, as it comes as a background. Only difference that you cannot stop this sound because it is not external sound. Any recording voice recorder, that sound will not be picked up. You can feel it. You know that sound is going on in the background, but it is not a physical sound that you can stop it. Okay, so allow that to happen. So it is a higher dimensional sound, you can say, the energy dimensional sound, and that's why you cannot record it in any physical device. Just let it be in the background. There is no issues. You continue your own sadhana. So, and each and every chakra has got their own sound. But normally, I don't tell in the beginning that this is a sound, because people start imagining things that is harmful for them. So when you have some kind of sound you can hear, then consult with me privately. I will tell you which that mean. Okay. So that's like a root chakra. There are all chakras. They have their own sound. Then we can hear during meditation. Okay.
Okay.
And also, it does not, one you can hear does not mean it is a permanently open. Our idea is to open all the chakras permanently, and the broadband connection with the higher self, that is enlightenment. But during any meditation, we cross that levels. Means during any six-step meditation, the sixth step, all of you, I'm sure, all chakras get open and you get connected. Only difference is that most of the people, they cannot retain that state. Slowly, slowly it goes away. But when our sadhana is all about how to retain that state permanently. Like any master, they do that. They retain that state all the time, no matter what is happening in the external world. So that is our aim. But when you hear some sound like that, which is not coming from outside, there is no such thing outside, it is coming, that consult with me privately. I will tell you, yes, it is for this, or I can also say, no, it's just something in your imagination, just drop it and move on. Both are possible, but these things you consult privately. Okay.
Thank
Yeah, but very good question, and
you.
that is the source of that sound.
Right.
Guruji, one small doubt.
Yes, Ariam.
This is regarding this whether we do Nirmal Kriya two positions or we do Suprasant Kriya in even in both the all chakras get activated. Suprasant Kriya also.
No, Kriya Yoga is for activating chakras.
Hanji.
Okay. Suprasant Kriya is a bringing balance to your system, to your body. Okay, the purpose is different. Like every practice we do have a separate different purpose.
Correct.
Okay.
Hanji.
Like 108 stomach breathing, purpose is to enhance your cellular vibration. That's it. Okay. It is not for
Correct.
activating chakras.
Correct.
Kriya Yoga is activating the chakras and raise your kundalini. That's the Kriya Yoga. Nirmal Kriya. Okay. Suprasant Kriya is needed to balance your system. Suppose you are having some, some stuck in a negativity or anxiety or this kind of stuff, it will balance your systems down. Okay, so purposes of those kriyas, there are many other kriyas, by the way, but all the kriya have a different purposes. But some
Like you
of the
were
day we
just
practice
saying,
Suprasant Kriya, but not as that it will activate the chakras, because this is that particular day we use Suprasant Kriya to balance our system. That's all. Basically, I'm saying don't
Chakras
confuse
get
between Kriya,
activated.
Nirmal Kriya and Suprasant Kriya. Suprasant Kriya will not activate chakras.
So the day we do Kriya, that means that days our chakras are not getting open.
So it's open. It's open, but you are not practicing it. Chakras are open. No, it's not immediately
Okay.
closed.
Understood. Understood.
Yeah.
Okay. Understood.
Okay. See,
Thank
suppose,
you.
no, I'm just giving some simple examples. Say, every day, suppose we drink, what is called, say, mango lassi. Okay. So one day we got a plain lassi. You know, that does not mean that our body, does not have any water. Body has its own water. So we are just changing the external input time to time, and it will just replenish the water we already have in the body. It is not creating it. Okay. So we are time to time give a little bit of touch up, and some to time a different type of drink we may drink, but body water level maintaining is something else. It can come from any source, not only lassi. It can come to some orange juice also. It can come from some, any other type of drink, Coca-Cola also. So that's a different way of getting water into the body. Okay.
Thank you, Guru.
All right. Okay. God bless you. Any other question? Okay. If no other question, then we'll go into our Kriya and meditation. Just sit straight, spinal cord straight, face straight. Now breathe in and breathe out and relax yourself. Now take a deep breath in for Om chanting. Now Guru Vandana. अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। With the divine blessings of Mahavatar Babaji, his sister Mataji, Amar Jyoti ji, Guruji Prem Nirmal, Guru Ma Bharti Nirmal, and all the masters of Guru Mandala, we shall start our Nirmal Kriya today. First to come.